Hey, it's Marshall Atkinson,
And Alan Howe.
and welcome to another Q&A with Alan and Marshall. If you're watching us, we're so happy you could be here. I don't think I can stand it.
You know what? I do. I can't wait to see who's coming on. Marshall, I'm pretty excited about this show. How's your week been? It was a short week. I had a good week.
This week for me has been a blur. I've been so busy. I was
Yeah.
up till 11 something last night working on some shirt lab stuff, and crazy week. I have so much going on, from my consulting business to shirt lab. It's just I can barely keep up. So, but it's really great. And let me tell you, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the stuff later, but a lot of the changes that I've made, I think, are really paying off because I'm no longer doing it how I used to do things. Here's the magic word: I've pivoted. Right?
We were allowed to use pivot until January 31st.
I changed some things. So, and we're going to talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
So before we get into some things, let's say some hello, and then we have a lot of really good topics today. So buckle up.
I'm excited about it.
So Kisa says good morning.
Morning,
Glad
Keith.
you're here, Kisa. James is here. Hey, how's it going?
James, I was just in a big transfer house a few days ago. I was thinking about you, man.
Shane says I'm here, and then Eric says good morning. So Ruben's here, listening to you guys while fishing. Hey, thanks for pissing Alan off.
Yeah, I didn't get that call, Ruben. I'm a little concerned, and maybe it went into my spam folder.
Yost is here from Sweden. Thank you.
How you doing, Yosta?
And it looks like everybody's on Facebook. You know, some people have been having trouble with Facebook connecting for some reason with this. So,
yep.
Glad that's actually working today. Charles says good morning.
Morning, Charles.
And Ryan says good morning. Everybody's logging in.
Thank you.
So let's get going with our first topic.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is what we want you to do. Today, more than any other day, I want you guys to be interactive. I want you guys to be sharing and commenting and asking questions and doing stuff. And we're leading
on every topic.
We're leading with the most obvious, which is this 9/11.
Definitely.
Today is 9/11. It's the remembrance of that tragedy and all that stuff. And I can't forget it. And I know that it's big in my life. It's big on how I think about things. It's big on a lot of stuff. And I know Alan feels the same way. So we kind of want to just remember what were we doing? What was going on back then? And Alan, why don't you start with what were you doing on that day?
I remember on that day, I was living in Kokomo, Indiana, and I was actually working for Easyway, the company I'm working for now. And I was driving from Kokomo, Indiana to a place in Benton Harbor, Michigan called Harbor Graphics. They're part of the Vemella Group now. And I did not know what was going on. I had, for those of you younger, I had a CD in the car just listening to music. It was early in the morning. I
CD?
Yeah, compact disc. They replaced tapes. I was still mad about it. And so I didn't know. And I call a friend of mine, Sam Salzner, and I already text him every 9/11. I text him, and I text John Schluter from Easyway, the owner. And I remember calling him, and I go, he goes, where are you at? Because they knew I traveled. I said, I'm on my way to Benton Harbor, Michigan. He goes, aren't you glad you're not in New York? And I go, I like New York. He goes, Alan, a plane just hit the Twin Towers. First one hit. And if you remember that, it was said they thought it was a twin engine at first. And I go, and we got, of course, sarcastic. Alan says, how do you miss a stinking building like that? You know, you didn't see it? Well, then we're talking, and he goes, they're watching. He goes, oh my gosh, another one just hit. And then Sam is a joker, and I go, you're a stinking lying, man. Stop it. That's not even funny. He goes, turn on your radio. And I did. And by that time, we know we're under attack. As the plane hit the Pentagon and then Pennsylvania, I was actually flying a lot from Indianapolis to Pennsylvania for an account for Easyway. And if you guys remember, cell service got spotty, things started going down. And I will always remember John Schluter from Easy Way, that he had everybody working to track down every sales guy. And I was one of the last ones. And I heard through one of the secretaries when that plane went down in Pennsylvania, John Schluter looked at, like, her name was Lynn, who was there, and he goes, "What's Alan's schedule?" Because I mean, they said he about turned white because they couldn't get a hold of me, but they did, and yeah, it was. I remember going to my appointment at Harbor Graphics, and the production manager, or VP at the time, and I just sitting there and didn't even talk. He goes, "Do I send people home? What do we do?" And yeah, that's where I was at.
Yeah, so I was still living in Florida. I was working for a company called T Formation. I was still the art director then, and it was a normal day. Just, I mean, we're insanely busy, and everything just stopped.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, complete halt. As all this stuff kind of happened, I remember not understanding and not being able to process what was actually happening, and then you were mesmerized by everything. And then I remember the subsequent days after that, it was like we're glued to the TV, trying to grasp what was actually happening, and it was so sad. It was so tragic. My wife's brother lived around the corner from there on an apartment. And so she got a phone call from him. The dust and stuff got into their place. It was just like, it was just very intense. And, it wasn't, it's just something that if you were alive then, and I don't even know how, if you were a kid then, like what you remember, but as an adult, it's just like you remember it. It was so impactful. It was just crazy. And so today's the anniversary of that, and I think it's something that is going to live with us for a long time. And I don't want to really spin this into the political thing, but it's just like, I remember how great, like the months after that, how this entire country came together. Like, I don't think it's ever come together. Right. Do you remember that, Alan? Just,
yeah,
we were just really unified as one.
Agreed.
And so just amazing, right? And we have a lot of people chiming in here, so we'll kind of share.
And some of the guys, like Ray Smith just posted, James Ortolani, I've known for years, all these guys. And,
right.
Marshall, I remember after that, just like during the pandemic, our community, of screen printers, garment decorators and stuff at the time, companies were finding out where their people were at, and we were checking, make sure our family's okay and everything.
Yeah.
But then the community, we're going, oh my gosh, how many people are flying? How many people are there in our industry? And I don't know.
Yeah.
So then we're thinking of people we know in New York and all that. So
and I had to do some traveling right after that. And I was on the first plane out to go to some trade show or something. And there was a bomb dog on the plane.
Yeah.
And I never felt safer.
Yeah.
And and it was like the guy in full SWAT gear with the German Shepherd or whatever it was, and a Labrador. I think it was a lab, actually. And it was just insane. So James says, when 9/11 happened, I was at Hicks Corporation in a marketing meeting. I'll never forget. Brian says, I was in a BNI meeting. I came out and turned on the radio, and Howard Stern was live talking about it. Pictures of the towers make me tear up still.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch an old movie that was in New York and you can see it in the background and you're just mesmerized? I can't even watch the movie anymore, right?
The hardest part about that, what I remember, is the fires before the towers came down, of people just making the choice, I'm going to burn to death or I'm leaping.
Yeah.
That one's still just,
Yeah.
yeah.
So Dave says, just came off shift with the federal law enforcement task force, taking off my gear as immediately called back to shift, working 24 hours a day, weeks on end, sleeping in our cars in various types of shelters while reconning various secure buildings and areas. Thank you so much for protecting.
Yeah.
For being the sheepdog for us. I appreciate that immensely. Hey, good morning, Cindy. Ray says, when we heard we were all in the break room and watch, I remember standing with Kurt Rainwater, whose wife worked at Delta as a flight attendant based on New York. 6 hours trying to get a hold of her. Oh my God, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, Ray works for, well, not Aviant, Poly One. Kurt Rainwater's with Graphic Solutions now, but he was the national sales manager for Poly One.
Yeah. And Ray said we had a common enemy.
We do.
Right. And
I saw a lot, I think during the pandemic here too, a common enemy, and whether our political views are there, we still want to, I think as an industry, we always seem to come together. And
I think as an industry, we are a band of brothers and sisters, if you really think about it. And, there's some outliers, right? And we all know them.
Yeah, Ray's listening right now, so don't say that.
Yeah, but I think there's a common bond that we all share in this industry, where as a group we want to elevate and make people better and help out and that kind of stuff. And you see that a lot at trade shows, like Alan and I and some other people who are commenting. We go to a lot of this stuff, and it's like our second family. A lot of times we see all these people and that type of thing, and even with our customers, they're all treated like family, and that's one of the reasons why Tom and I started Shirt Lab Tribe, is because we need that, I think, in this industry, and that's why we're getting the growth that we are in that group and the engagement that we're having, and so anyway, don't want to make this a depressing show or anything, but it's hard not to talk about it when it's at the forefront of your mind. So
we want to remember those families that lost people, that's every day for that. And I think the world, because a lot of the world shut down too, they weren't sure what was going on. And I think at that point too, there were countries that came to our aid also too during that.
Yeah. So Ghost says, fix your focus, you're blurring. That's because I'm talking so fast. Hold on. All right, did that work? I don't know. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just stop moving, right?
But
okay. So we would love if you're just joining us or whatever, we would love for you to, or even if you're watching this as a recording, we would love for you to share your 9/11 story. Where were you? What were you doing? What was the impact on you or your family or your business? We would love to hear that story. So add that to the comment, and just,
I was listening earlier to some of the Two Regular Guys podcast, and Aaron and Terry were talking about it also. And they brought up, which is the same thing we're talking about, that as the community came together, right away, the community said, what can we do? And people were printing shirts and selling them, helping out and all that. And, that's what we do.
That's what we do, right? We, if you're a chef, you make food. If you're a teacher printer, you make T-shirts. So,
exactly.
All right. So let's go to the second topic, which is completely different. So let's just shift.
We will pivot.
Let's just shift, compartmentalize 9/11, and then we're back to reality. We're back to right now. Okay. And this is my blog article for tomorrow. So please read it. Okay. This is actually the title of it, which is Stop Protecting 2020 and Start Thinking About 2021. And I talk to a gazillion people a week, as you do, Alan.
Yep.
And a lot of people are, we're fighting our reopening. We're fighting getting back. We're fighting getting our sales. And one of the common things I keep hearing is that my sales are down 40%, but if this happens, I can get back to whatever,
Yeah.
right? This is what I want everybody to kind of understand here is there's no getting back, right? We need to stop thinking about how we're going to protect 2020, right? Because 2020 sucks, right? 2020, I can't wait for this year to be over, right?
Awful. Yeah.
I want people to really get in the mindset here that we need to be thinking about 2021 and getting prepared for that. And in the article, I go into a lot of depth about what to do, but just as a general thing is I want you to pull up 2020 sales for January, 2019 sales for January, 2018 sales for January, or even Q1 for all those 3 years.
Right.
And I want you to take a really hard look at your customers and who was buying and what they were doing and whatever. And I'll bet you there's a huge chunk of those sales that usually come in January. Those customers don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're not thinking about your first quarter for next year now and really replacing these customers with something else, right, and start thinking about this stuff, because this is what I tell you is right now everybody's focused on holiday. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, holiday sales, ugly sweaters are really focused on that. And then once we get all that prep work done, then we're going to be really thinking about January. And by then it's going to be December and it's going to be too late. I want you to really be thinking about and just pushing 2020 off to the side for a minute and really start thinking about what are you going to be doing Q1 of next year and start lining some stuff up. Start having conversations with your customers. Maybe you have a customer that only orders at the beginning of the year, right? So you haven't even talked to them yet. Now's the time to pick up the phone and go, hey, Mr. Customer, how's it going? Lead with empathy. Get that conversation going. Find out what they're doing. Schools and stuff, or some school districts are talking about doing football in the spring, right? I mean, we talked about that before. Is that you? Is that your area, right? What's the planning for that going to be like? Get a grip on what has to happen now. I don't know it seems like it's so far away, but it's not. It's around the corner, right? What do you think about that, Alan?
Well, I think you're right. We have to look at that, whether from your business point of view, as a supplier manufacturer like I am, I have taken over some areas that are new to me. And, do I look at what their 2019 sales were? Yes. But I really don't care because some of those places are gone. There are customers that are gone. There are customers that are a fraction of that. So I don't care. So I almost have to, in my mind, hit the reset button and go, I am going to start from right now and move on.
Well, you have
do I care? Yeah, I have that data and stuff there.
Well, we have to replace these people.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So when we're doing our budgeting, we're doing our thinking, we're doing our sales planning, we're thinking about, okay, let's get 2020 behind us and think about 2021, right? We have to be thinking about, okay, those people they're not relevant to us.
Yep.
We wish they existed, but they're out of business or they're bankrupt or whatever. We can't rely on them. So now we have to replace them. So the question is what are you doing? And I just want people to really start thinking about, we need to be having these discussions now. We need to be asking our customers, what are you doing? How can I help you now? Right? We can't wait.
I have went to some of the clients that were almost untouchable for us. We all know those. We have those guys that, clients, I wish I could get that, but so-and-so has it. And I went right after them, right at the belly of the beast, and not aggressively, and I just put the question out there. Look, I'm calling because where we're at now, everybody's at now in our country, nothing is off the table. It's all on there. And when I've had more people, I have 4 major things happening that could happen. We get 2 of these, oh my gosh, and all the conversations have been with that. There's not. I feel like there's nothing left off the table, and they're agreeing, and they're going, "Come on in, Ella, let's talk."
Right.
We're just going to see if there's a fit, and we've started down that path. So those people that you think are untouchable, that you've never been, go after them. And if you want to use steal that and say, look, I just feel like there's nothing, off the table anymore. What can we do? You gotta be empathetic with them. You gotta meet them where they're at and listen more than speak. I have to remind myself to do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Listen more than speak. You don't have to have all the answers right now. Listen to what they're doing. Ask probing questions. What are their problems? What are they looking for? And come up with solutions or possible solutions.
Yeah, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason.
Yep. And I think a lot of times in the sales process, people do not know buying signals, and people will give them or opportunities.
Are those like baseball signals?
They are in a way they are. They're these silent things like this. And I remember when I sold ink, and I learned this from a training seminar at Wilflex, actually. And we were talking, we were kind of doing some role playing. And it was Vince DiCecco back in the day then was doing the training, and he still writes for the industry. Great guy. And we were talking on, how it's selling ink. And when someone's looking at a new color and they're going, wow, that's pretty nice. I like that. That's the buying signal right there. And someone goes, well, would you like a quart? And I will always go, no. You know what? Will 5 gallons? Will 5 gallons be okay, or should we send 10? Usually they'll laugh and go, no. How about let's just start with a gallon right now? Fine. That's a buying signal. You could throw that out there, or they'll go, yeah, that might be too soon right now, but yeah, let's keep an eye on this. At least you know what you're moving down the road. You got to look for buying signals. Sometimes it is a turn up of the mouth, a smile. They do that little, what I call the robin's head thing, little cockle. Oh, that's interesting. You gotta listen. You got to pay attention.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We have some comments here. Let's get them. Ray says 9/11 Wolfex running on every red and every blue.
Absolutely. People printing flags.
Keith says, I worked for the phone company at that time. I had to rush to Sacramento to make sure the EOC Center had all the computers up and running. It was scary and sad that day.
It was horrible. Communication was awful. It was, yeah.
Cindy says, with us being out in oil country, we've lost a lot of customers. There are a lot of companies that have closed due to oil crash and COVID, right? So for Cindy, right, my suggestion is that they may or may not be coming back. For your business to survive, you need to find a completely different market segment.
Yeah.
Right. And that means somebody you've never thought of could be your best new customer. You need to be reaching out to them.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's a bad thing when people have all their eggs in one basket and one customer segment anymore.
Right.
From clients. And, we talked about some things, sports coming back, some in the spring, and up here in Michigan, all of a sudden, Friday, bam, they're going to allow high school sports.
Right.
Well, there was a client of mine, and they had actually already pivoted before the pandemic, it's client of Marshall's too, knows them, that they were heavy in that sports, school sports and equipment and stuff like that. And they had already started moving, and they were moving more, 30 to 40% of that was their business. They wanted to be more. They told me just last night, they called me after hours, and I was just checking going, are you swamped? They said, no, not yet, but we're getting there. They're just glad that they've already made that move, looking at different markets. And they said, if we get a fraction of what comes on there, and it's going to look different and stuff, and they're having to redo their online stores different, but if they get a fraction of that, they go, you know what, we can be all right because we weren't dependent on it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Jan says, moving on to holiday seasons in 2021. That's great.
Perfect.
And Jan, I love your picture there, the cartoon.
Yes.
I'm moving to multi-level streams of income and trying to mitigate the total loss of income when things happen, and they will happen. That's great. Hey, share what does that mean? Multi-level streams of income. Can you share the different things that you're doing? That would be awesome. Ray says, silent communication. Love it when I get someone to go from defensive folded arm position to leaning forward, listening mode. And let me tell you, here's something that I learned a long time ago about body language. It's your abdomen when we protect our abdomen, that means there's a lack of trust,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if my arms folded is across my stomach, that means I don't trust you, or I'm guarding something, or I'm not telling you the truth, right? When I open up my belly, that means I trust you, I'm more forthright. And when I lean forward, I show you my hands, we talk with our hands, show you my hands, I'm really engaged.
Yep.
Right. So if I'm leaning back like this, arms protected, I don't trust you. I'm not quite convinced. Right. So we need to get people to open up. And that's what opening up really means is this type of open position. So
you've opened up your soft underbelly.
Yeah. Cindy says we do a lot of school sports, but some of that is on hold. Everything is in a holding pattern. Yes. Well, find a customer that you haven't started working with ever, right? Let me tell you, there are people buying. They're just not buying from you.
Yep.
And you need to be going out there proactively and finding these folks, right?
I think the word there is that she says everything is in a holding pattern. Not everything.
Right.
Everything in your world, Cindy. Look outside of that.
My daughter was born the day after 9/11. I'll definitely never forget her birthday. Oh my gosh, Frank, thanks for sharing that. That's a remarkable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the next one.
Great comment.
We'll whip it through these pretty quick.
That's some great comments for everybody. Thank you. Keep them coming.
So there's a backstory to this thing, and Alan really wanted this phrase to be in today's thing. So why don't you tell everyone where you heard this and why this is relevant?
I heard this saying yesterday. My friend Richard Greaves was being interviewed by Marshall and doing a kind of a video cast in Shirt Lab Tribe. If you're not a member of Shirt Lab Tribe, do it. And Richard has been around. Those of us who've been in the industry, Ray knows him, James knows him. Everybody should know him. He's been around over 40 years in the industry. And Richard is a friend of mine. He lives here in Michigan. We have lunch regularly. I talk to him like I talk to Marshall, just as friends. So there's not a lot he says that I haven't heard before. And I'm actually driving yesterday, and I'm listening. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? And I'm listening to this, and he brings out this phrase: if you own the problem, you own the customer. And this goes into customer service. And I text Marshall, I said, we have to have this and talk about this, because I shared on a different thing that I had the worst customer service event in my life as a consumer, and it was outside of this industry. And what has happened when they finally, someone head up got into it, they owned the problem completely. And they have tried to make it right, and they're not making excuses, which people below them did. And next thing I know, we are engaged in topics. She knows what I do. What do you think, Alan? Ask him my opinion. Where are you guys at? What have they done? I have an invite to their new facility to come see it now. And I'm looking forward to doing that, because I really want to get to know what they're doing. Because aside from the problem, this company has done a lot of great things. They're talking about, she goes, do you do consulting? No, I don't. I've given them Marshall's name. We talked about Jay Bears, hug your haters and things like that, because I was a hater. And they saw it on social media on there. It's like, this is awful. And so they brought me in by, if you own the problem, you own the customer. Because when their product is working, it's amazing. I love it. I have no problem paying extra money for it. And if it's not, and I had no service, I was dead in the water, and they were enemy number one.
Yeah, I think just expanding that a little bit. If you own the customer, own the problem. So first off, you have to know what the problem is.
Exactly.
If you don't know what the problem is, how are you helping them?
Yep.
Are you just trying to sell them stuff that they don't need? Right. So it's like when we're thinking about what our customers do and what their problems are. And if we have a really good understanding about that problem, we can align ourselves better with the solution, and that makes us more valuable. And so I think a lot of times businesses, they just think up stuff and push it out to the market without even thinking about what problem it solves, or even if is there a problem. And it doesn't have to be a fancy business, right? So think about, the hot dog cart on the busy street. What are their customers' problems? Is that they don't have time to go into a restaurant and they're willing just to stop at the sidewalk and get a hot dog.
Yeah.
Right. But a hot dog cart where there's no people, right, or there's more options, probably won't work. Right. So you have to really identify where the problem is, and then what is your solution to that?
Or worse, a hot dog cart where the owner, the guy running the cart, you're in a hurry because people are walking and eating on the way, and the owner is not talking to customers; he's talking on his phone, or whoever is running the cart. That's a customer service issue.
Yes, right.
Well, the problem.
Right. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud here about people understanding who their customers and their problems. And one of the things that I've advised for a long time is really talking with your customers more, especially your top customers, and making sure you really understand their problems, because this is what I want to tell you, is that their problems change.
Right.
Their problems change. And right now we're in this weird world where there's a lot of change and people are still grasping. They may not even understand the problem. And then what are we doing? Like, for example, I was sharing with Alan before our thing. I had a series of parent-teacher conferences with my son's school yesterday with his teachers. And his school is back open and he can attend, but we're worried about what's going on. So we're doing everything from home. And my son, Jack, he's a pretty smart kid. Mm-hmm. He's struggling a little bit, and one of his classes is chemistry. And this is how crazy it is. He's having to teach himself chemistry. Can you imagine in high school teaching yourself chemistry? That's what is going on, because his teacher really isn't teaching. She's just assigning work. And he's having to figure out the problems, and he's really frustrated. And so we were having a conversation with his teacher about it yesterday, and she was on the verge of tears because the school isn't really supporting her.
Yeah.
So can you imagine? We were like, I don't know, the 15th or 16th phone call she had, and all the parents are telling or screaming or yelling. We were very nice, but because, we're nice people. And it's like she was super frustrated. You can hear it in her voice.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is the school doesn't understand her problem. They're not offering a solution. My son, who is her customer, right? She does. There isn't the communication to understand it, and we're not really doing what we need to do. And so one of the things I really want people to understand is you have to constantly be asking people stuff.
Yep.
Right. And we can't assume that we know. We can't assume anything. And right now we need to be having more conversations, more empathy, more being vulnerable and saying, hey, I don't quite know if I can help you, but I want to figure it out.
Yeah, I think the hardest part to do is right now for all of us and people listening, who are the customers that aren't your customers anymore? Do you know why? Sometimes you have to ask them.
Yeah.
And don't make excuses. Own it.
Right.
Come up with a solution. So, yeah. And I think that's the one thing we can all learn. We all have problems. We all are over companies. None of us are perfect. What are the problems? Ask the question. And I think that's our next topic, isn't it, Marshall?
Well, let's not get to it real quick. We have some comments. So
let's go there.
Cindy says, yes, true. I've not stopped sewing even during the COVID mess. Thanks, Good. Cindy. Jan says, school spirit wear, little kids and babies, craft markets. I do embroidery and heat applied items. Screen printing is done by a contractor. Okay, Jan, thank you.
Great.
Also working on manufacturing my own products. It's a learning curve, but I love it. That's great. You're inventing your own product. That's great. Cindy says, my S&S samples we talked about recently just came in. I'm going to take them home and wash, dry, and see how they perform. So what she's talking about is I had a Forward Progress interview. That's the show I do on Thursdays with Meg Erber from S&S. That was last week.
Yep.
If you haven't watched it, please take a look. And she was talking about some new hoodies that are on the market. And so Cindy, right during the presentation, she ordered them from S&S. And now they're in, and she loves them, and now she wants to work with them. So that's really great. So that's the power of communication right there. And Ray wants a hot dog.
I'm going to go to the Coney place here in Michigan real quick.
Let me tell you, one of my favorite things, and this is so bad for you, one of my favorite things in the world is a chili dog with chopped onions and lots of cheese. And I love it. I love it. In fact, one of my treats on the weekend is just grilling out some hot dogs.
Yeah.
And I love Hebrew Nationals. That's the brand I love. And I like the giant ones. You know what I'm talking? Not the normal size hot dogs. I like the
bun size one with natural casing and stuff.
Yeah, and then what you do is you split them down the middle, and then you grill them, and there's more surface area that gets crispy.
Oh.
And then you immediately put it in the bun with the cheese, and the cheese immediately melts because it's just hot off the grill, right? Oh, it's the best.
So here in Michigan, we have a lot of Greek Coney Islands. Detroit is known as, you can insult a lot of things about the state of Michigan, even sometimes our mothers, not our Conies.
Right.
I've had some vendors. I know a workhorse vendor came up. He says, take me to good Coney places, Alan. So
yeah,
in the sum, he goes, where's the best ones? I went downtown. So I went there. And, Michigan has a law too with hot dogs that if hot dogs are.
You have a hot dog law?
Yeah. You're not allowed to use hoofs and beaks and chicken lips and stuff like that. It has to be real cuts. So
right.
A company called Kogel's, which is real big, and it's just good. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, I got hooked on hot dogs, I think, back when I was in college. I was a bartender, like a lot of people were. I was a bartender, and I worked at this really rat hole of a bar called Port Paul's Poorhouse. And they had hot dogs on the, like the 7-Eleven rotisserie thing, right?
Yeah.
And we had a crock pot full of the giant can of chili, that nasty chili, right?
Yeah.
And chopped onions. And I would make every night, I would make 2 or 3 of these hot dogs with cheese and jalapenos and onions and stuff. And I really got hooked on them. And every time I have a hot dog like that, it just takes me back to bartending.
Everybody asks, they go, so are Detroit Conies better than, say, a Cincinnati chili Coney or a Chicago dog or something like that? And I said, yeah, I've had them all. They're all good. There's no better. They're all good.
What's up with Cincinnati having like chili on their spaghetti?
Yeah, well, when I started
That's weird.
with Jay Prout in the 80s, they interviewed me at a chili parlor, they're called. Right. And you learn to love it. So
okay, so let's do some more comments here, and then let's get on to the next topic. Where did I leave off, right? So Jan says, I love customer service. Me too.
Absolutely.
William says, have your son check out Derek Owens. He does online chemistry and physics for homeschoolers. Hold on. Let me write that down.
Writing that one down.
Hold on.
Thank you, William.
I'm writing that down. Thank you, William. You saved me.
Yes.
So Ray says, as a vendor, we want our customers to let us know if they have problems. All too often we hear about problems when someone complains on Facebook. Please send complaints to the manufacturer first. Many times has little to do with the product, more often application or wrong selection of product. That is so true. We're always blaming the ink.
Yep.
I got to tell you, it isn't the ink, it's you.
Well, what's the seminar I'm known for? Printing better whites. It's
right.
Probably, and then underneath it, I have in parentheses, it's probably not your ink.
Yeah, concert stop. Now I need to eat lunch again.
Again is the key word. Great job, Sean.
Well,
And,
it's like it's time for second breakfast, right?
exactly. And you know what Ray said, I see it too with all products where people have, and I will actually, people I know, they will post that will come up on a Facebook page and they'll post something and I will call them because they're friends of mine and good customers going, why are you not calling the manufacturer? You have their number.
Right.
You know? And it's like, why would you do that and just get opinions from somebody, God knows what they're doing?
And here's the thing: is let's throw this back to, and I'm not want to throw Ray under the bus because he's awesome, but is the manufacturer open to that call? Do they make it easy for the call? Is there somebody there to listen or help them? Do they advertise? You got problems with it, you know? And I'm not saying anything about Wolflex or Poly1 or anything.
Well,
don't get me wrong.
I've sold Wolflex and I still, I still handle leak problems for customers. I have called them and never had an issue getting through.
Yeah. So let me tell you, back when I was in shop, I had Steve Hedges' number on speed dial because I need a Pantone color. Right.
We need to have a moment of silence for Steve Hedge. No offense, Ray, but we miss him still. He was the best. And I know you agree. So, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I was always calling, right? And I need some help. Help me. Right. And I've always had great relationships with my reps and they have pulled my butt out of the fire a million times. And that's the reason why I was always loyal to that company, was because of their rep, not really because of their logo or anything. It was really their people. Right. And you talk about this all the time, Alan, really.
Absolutely.
And you're right. I can buy that emulsion ink, whatever, from anybody, right? It's the relationship with the rep that really kept that thing going, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we don't need a supplier. You can order from anybody. You need a partner.
Yeah, Eric's here. Hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Eric says, I'm with Ray. Use the support channels that your manufacturers offer. I've done and still do a ton of support, and we can save you so much hassle, trial, and error.
Absolutely.
And Ray says, we all miss Steve.
And just so everybody knows, Steve retired. He's not dead.
Yeah, he's not dead. Yeah, he's doing whatever Steve does.
Yeah. Not thinking about printing. So.
Yeah, not answering Marshall's dumb questions.
And everybody's dumb questions. So.
Right. How come you don't have this color?
Well, seafoam green is not real popular right now.
Because nobody really knew that we needed PMS 4637 or whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So here's our last topic, which is ask the hard questions. And this is customer facing, right? And so I had an emergency phone, and I'm not naming names or anything, but I had an emergency phone call with one of my coaching clients this morning, and I was so proud of them because they actually listened to me. And they were having some difficulty with one of their top customers. And I'm like, look, you're going to have to just pull up your pants and ask them some hard questions because you're so frustrated with them. And it's because you're not asking them about some things that are going to make, and they called me up. It was an emergency phone call this morning, just really to say thank you about, hey, and this is what the result of that conversation was. We finally did it. And now we know what their roadmap is. And they were so scared to ask the question. And so I'm like, you got to do it, right? Because it's just costing you time. It's costing you money. You're super frustrated. You're not giving them good service because you don't know how to answer them. Yep. You have to ask these hard questions. I'm not going to give it all the details, right? But you have to ask these hard questions, and that is going to make you a better or more valuable partner to them. And because sometimes, and this is a Greg Kitson thing, we don't know what we don't know.
Absolutely.
You need to find out these answers, and they don't even know your customer didn't understand why. And that was a big thing. They didn't understand why this was important. And having that conversation, I think, really cemented this relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right? And so the reason I wanted to bring this up is right now we're in an unprecedented time and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody can predict the future. And we need to be asking harder questions with people earlier. You know, what is your plan? What are you doing? What do you see? How can I help? What is your struggle? Right? And people don't know what they don't know. And until we have that conversation and we're brave enough to actually even bring it up, you're not as valuable as you could be.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Marshall. I
was going to say, just quit being a scaredy cat.
Yeah.
You know,
you got to put on the big boy pants. You know, I think a lot of it too, and customers, let's go back to customers that you don't have, that you had and don't have anymore. Do you know why? Go ask them. What can we do better? What have we done? You know, on there. If you know the answer, then don't ask. Fix it. What are the solutions you've changed? Go back and ask the hard questions. I think in sales, a lot of times in my field, what I've seen is when people, especially on bigger purchases, you know, if someone comes to you, I have this huge fundraiser, I have this idea, this conception I want to do. You got to ask the hard questions. One, what's the time frame? Two, what's your budget? And I think a lot of times in sales, you're thinking Cadillac, they're thinking, I don't know, Ford Festiva.
Or maybe they don't even have one.
Yeah, exactly. Or a plan. And you've got to ask these hard questions all the time. If you lost a customer, this goes back to, if you own the problem, you own the customer. When there's a complaint, ask the hard questions. If they're saying you did this, own it. Ask what else? Is there anything else if I fix this? And then have a solution. Say what you'll do what you say. Right.
So, for example, talking about my son and is struggling with chemistry. What if his school had said, how are these kids going to learn if the teachers aren't engaging with them?
Yeah.
Right. How are we actually going to be teaching these kids? Right. And they had come up with a better plan. And, you know, as a parent, I'm a little frustrated that, you know, they had all summer, you know, they didn't do anything. And now here we are. So for your customers, like, what are the hard questions that you need to be asking? Right. And then even within your internal staff, I'm talking with lots of shops right now who are looking for a production manager or an embroidery machine operator or a press person or a salesperson or whoever. Right. And they're not asking the hard questions. And to me, like, one of the hard questions is how come you don't have somebody trained to do that job right now? That's my question to them is you should grow your own. Yeah. Right. And how come you don't have somebody ready to step up? And it's because nobody's ever thought of it. Right. And then the other question is, okay, if you need this person, well, there's people out here right now that need jobs. They're everywhere. Okay. But, you know, they live in Arkansas or Oregon or Illinois or New Hampshire or Arizona or whatever. And you live in Missouri. Right. So you want to solve the problem, you can import them in. Right. You know, on Monday, it was Labor Day, I posted, hey, if you're struggling, you need a job, let me help you connect.
Absolutely.
You know, I only had one person take me up on that. Right. And I just think it was interesting that we were celebrating Labor Day by taking the day off, but we have millions of people who are out of work. Right. It just struck me as kind of a oxymoronic for a little bit. Right. And not that I am a magician or I can help people find a job or anything, but if I can do anything, I'm happy to do it. Right. So.
And you did take the day off. I saw a picture of burnt ends briskets.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I saw, and you did take that day off too. I saw a picture you sent me of burnt ends.
Oh yeah, here's a hidden secret. Okay, this is why I'm so fat. I like to eat. Okay. And I like to eat really delicious stuff. And, I'm always tasting things. My brother-in-law, Jesse, is a barbecue rock star. He competes. He does the competition cooking circuit. He's at that level, right? And he's always making stuff. And on Monday, he brought over a aluminum pan full of, ready for this, smoked pork belly burnt ends.
So good.
Right? Oh, they were so awesome. So we were in the pool, doing our thing, right? And then got out of the pool, and my wife wanted to make homemade egg rolls. So from scratch. So she's busy making all those, and I started helping her. And then we made all the pork mixture that she made with the ginger and the cabbage and everything. And there was this tray of the burnt ends sitting there. And I go, oh, let's make a couple, right? So I made those and with barbecue sauce, like all fried up in the middle of it. Oh my God, they should have just made those. They were so good, right?
Now I'm really hungry for lunch.
Yeah.
Get out like this.
All right, here's a great comment here. Dang, my wife walks in, here's Alan talking, and says, "Is that Vince Vaughn talking?" Now I can't get that out of my head.
It is.
That's pretty funny.
I will.
Has anybody ever told you that before?
No, I've had my voice. I have a guy that every time back when we had answering machines, he would, friend of mine, and he would call and just go, "Dang, Alan, you sound like you're on the radio all the time." And I can't help it, but I will take that as a compliment. I'm honored. So
yeah. Hey, Marcia just joined us. Hey, Marcia. Late to the party, but we rewatched so I can catch the beginning. Love hearing everyone's honor of the tragedy of 9/11. We were just 2 days out from Fort Worth and scrambled to figure out what to do all day while we worried about our own loved ones. Very tense times.
Yeah.
Thanks, Marcia. I appreciate you sharing that.
If I remember right, Fort Worth got canceled, and SGIA was a few weeks later in Anaheim and got canceled.
Yeah, right.
So it was a rough time.
Keith says it's 9:50 and now I want barbecue. Yeah, I'll tell you, Keith, there's never not a good time.
I was just going to say, you are a barbecue omelet. Done.
And by the way, barbecue sauce is my favorite condiment. I put that on everything.
No problem with that.
That in the hot sauce. What's the Frank's Red Hot?
Frank's. Yeah, I'm not a hot sauce guy. I don't do heat.
Well, their phrase is I put that shit on everything. So, oh, here you go. Could be worse. I always get Seth Rogen.
Which
you
is
sound exactly like Seth Rogen, Eric.
It does. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Hey, thanks. Now that's all I'm going to hear.
Yeah. Is that Seth Rogen or Eric Campbell?
Yeah. You know what we should have is a podcast with Alan and Eric pretending to be Vince Vaughn and Seth Rogen talking about T-shirts.
Oh, I'm going to have to listen to Vince Vaughn and get his little manual nuances out.
I bet that would be an awesome commercial.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, we got a couple minutes. I want to share some YouTube stuff. Is that okay? Do you think?
Do it. I think it's great. I think it's awesome.
All right. So those of you that haven't tuned in, a couple months ago, I decided to revamp my YouTube channel, and if you read my blog article last week, my son, Jack, told me it sucked. So there's a whole article about that. Mm-hmm. So he is my self-appointed YouTube master. And I wanted to share. So we were really at nothing. So here is, let me get rid of this. So here is the analytics. So views are up. This is the last month, last 28 days. Your channel got 1,156 views in the last month. That's more than the 30 to 100 it normally got. And then let's scroll down. This is all Jack right here.
Yeah.
So we have a new show called The Best T-Shirt I Ever Printed, right? Best shirt I ever printed. And here is the results, right? Here's the one with Pete Jr. in the lead with 341. This is me listening to my son and him. This is all him doing the work, right? Here's the show that Cindy listened to that she ordered the hoodie from, right? And so this is what's really amazing. And what's fun here, Alan, is this show isn't in the top 10.
Yeah, I was just going to say, we are nowhere to be found.
All right. So this is me starting, right? And this is so important. That this is what I want to say. This is me starting something, right? Is this super awesome, incredible at 10,000 views a day? No, this is nowhere close to that, right? But unless you start the journey, you will never accomplish anything. And this is what I want to get across. And the reason why I'm sharing this stuff is because I want everybody to know when we started, we had 32 subscribers. We have 138 now, right? That's awesome, right? Is that 10,000? No, that's 138. And by the way, Jack gets $1 for every one. So he's making,
you know what? It's not 10,000, but it's not 32 either.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually we'll have a whole bunch. Right now we're on our path. We're on our way. The reason why I'm sharing this is because right now, do you have a YouTube channel? No. Hey, Alan, do you have a podcast? No.
That's right? Twice. What 2 days?
You could be doing something. You just have to get started.
Yep.
Right? That's the whole reason I'm saying this is because I wasn't doing anything. And now I'm started. And look, I've got some success. Look at this. I've got listening to Pete Jr. He's got 300. And that guy is so fun anyway. 341 people have listened to Pete Jr. tell his story about this crazy shirt that he printed. Right. So if you're a t-shirt printer, where am I? If you're a t-shirt printer, and you want to be on the show and talk about the best t-shirt you ever printed, I would love you to have you on the show. We'd love to record that and add that to the mix. I've got some people in the hopper right now. Would love to share your story. It's all about you. It's all about your story. Okay. But the main point here that I'm trying to get across is unless you start, you will never have any results. Absolutely. So what haven't you started right now? Right? You can do it. You don't need permission. I didn't ask anybody's permission to do any of that.
Yep.
Right? You just got to do it. Right? Alan and I didn't ask permission to start this show.
We just did it.
And just did it. And I will tell you, some days we don't know what the hell we're doing, right? We're just doing it. Right?
We're texting each other and calling each other during the week going, hey, what about this? What about this? And we're waiting to see what happens and basically what you guys are telling us.
Yeah, right.
But all come from real events that we've talked about. Yeah. So Marshall, maybe we need to take and I need to talk afterwards because that's a hard question. So what do we need to change here?
I don't know. Why don't you guys, our customers, the people that watch, why don't you leave a comment? What would you like to see? What topics would you like to hear from? We've had a couple guests on. Is that something you want to see more of? Right? What would you like to do with this? Right?
Someone's going to say they want Vince Vaughn off and Seth Rogen on. No.
Right. All right. We got some comments here. Charles is laughing out loud. Eric says, it was always a hard day. My early career was forged after 9/11, doing official license work for the New York Fire and Police Departments. I always post this piece when folks asks. Oh, great. I can't wait to look that up.
Yeah, I've seen that link before. That's awesome.
Same thing has happened to me with the Take Up. It's been taking 32 episodes to get where I am now and has been gradual to grow, although I'll think you'll run past me shortly with those great stories. Thank you. You shared his channel. And if you're not watching Eric on the Take Up, what is wrong with you people?
Yeah. I'm talking, this is all part of what I call the Friday lineup, for our industry. When you got two regular guys at 11 Eastern Central, you got us at 12, and then Eric is at 4 o'clock, I think, Eastern, 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern. That's a pretty good Friday garment decorating lineup right there.
And our secret dream, by the way, is to do a live one of these and simulcast all the shows at once.
I think so. Eric, we can make that happen, couldn't we? First trade show or something, or maybe one day where it's you, Terry and Aaron and all of us, and we just do one big show.
The one big show. That sounds like a big trade show bonanza.
I think so.
Once we ever get back to doing that, right?
Yeah, I think we would have to make that happen.
Yeah.
So.
Eric says, I planned and never started, but one day I just went live. 32 weeks later, I have a group of people who make a regular appointment to be here live.
Same thing here. Yeah. And man, I will never forget that first show was awful because I was supposed to be on it. It was our show and I couldn't get logged in. We were on Facebook Live. Marshall's getting texts while trying to remain calm. And I'm just remember texting him going, I hate this.
Yeah, right.
My computer across the room.
Right.
But yeah, I was going nuts.
Hey, you just have to start. You gotta just go, right? Yosta says now it's 2200, right? Hey, good night.
He's a rock star, man. We gotta go. Somehow goes to you. Got to come here. We got to go there. We have got to get him on.
Man, I'm sweet.
Face to face. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Eric says, "Oh yeah," on the combined one.
Right. And Cindy says, "Hey, yo, made me hungry. I'm going to go grab a burrito."
Oh, burritos. We didn't even talk about them. Yeah.
I had burritos last night for dinner. They were awesome. All right. So, what are you doing this weekend? I know what I'm doing tomorrow.
You know what? I haven't even thought about it. It's my nephew's birthday, so I got to go get something for him. He's on travel baseball. He wants spikes. He wants gift certificates to Dick's Sporting Goods where he gets them from. He needs new cleats and stuff he wants, and he's kind of gotten into that. So that's my thing. I really don't know. With it being a short week, I was out of town. I came back. I really have no idea what I'm going to do. So, which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, I know exactly what I'm doing. I have a lot of work I'm working on weekend, but not tomorrow, because tomorrow FSU opens their football season. Go Noles, baby. I'll be right there.
Football here in Michigan because of the Big Ten.
Yeah, so, I know. Well, I can't help that. And frankly, I wish they weren't playing. I wish to keep the people safe. Yeah. But if they're going to play, I'm going to watch. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
You know, I can't not do it. Like It's like a bad traffic accident. You got to turn your head and watch, right? So
absolutely. Yes.
We have a new coach. We have a whole bunch of new coaches. We're playing Georgia Tech, and it's on ABC. If you want to watch with me, I'll be doing that, and with a beer in my hand and watching. So hopefully we win. So
Charles just posted.
Yeah, Charles. Yay for football, go Saints.
I love how he spelled go. Way to go.
Yeah, and I didn't know you were a Saints fan. You know, my Jameis Winston is now the backup quarterback for Drew Brees. Hopefully he'll make some better life decisions there in New Orleans. That's all I can say about that guy. He's got a $50 million arm and a $5 brain. So, hopefully he'll straighten his life out and be awesome.
I know in baseball world, I didn't watch it, but I had a friend of mine called and said, man, what's with the Detroit Tigers? They lost 19-0. We're going,
oh
man,
my gosh, really?
You lose 19-0.
Don't they have like a call a game after a certain?
They should have. I'm sure they would have. And I go, you know what? If they stopped it, who would care? There's no one in the stands, you know?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Awful.
Okay, people. So have a great weekend. Please let either Alan or know if we can help you. We're here for you. If you're watching this as a recording, leave a comment. 9/11. We want to hear your story. Also, any questions you have on any of the stuff that we talked about today.
Absolutely.
We're here if you just tag us so we know that you asked the question so we see it. So.
Yep. And I can be reached easily.
I can do this.
Yeah. You need to have
Alan. You'll answer their questions, won't you?
Always on anything. If not, I will direct you to someone who can.
And there's mine.
Yep.
And by the way, if you want to sign up for Shirt Lab Tribe, there's the email address.
Do it, everybody.
It's not too late to be a founding member. Founding membership is going to be cut off soon.
Yep.
Right now it's $49 a month. Around the corner, it's going to jump to $99. So don't be late.
Yep.
Don't be a woulda, coulda, shoulda. You don't want to be that person.
Do it, and then you can listen to all the stuff they've already done. It's been some good content.
Yeah, the content's awesome, and we're only putting more fantastic things in it. So, which
I
is
really hope,
what I'm doing all weekend, by the way. So,
I really want 2020. I miss seeing everybody. I really want to get the some shirt labs, and yeah.
Yep.
So
all right, folks. See you guys later.
Be safe. Remember 19 years ago. Let's never forget that. Be safe. Be kind. Have a
See
good
ya.